The bridge of the UES Tenacity flickered with dying emergency lights as Captain Ross surveyed the damage reports streaming across his command console. 3 days into what should have been a routine cargo run to the outer colonies, his ship now drifted helplessly in the void between star systems, engines dead and life support failing. "Engineering report," Ross called out, his voice steady, despite their dire circumstances. Lieutenant Commander Blake looked up from her station, grease staining her uniform and exhaustion etched on her face. "Captain, the antimatter containment took a direct hit from that pirate vessel. We've got maybe 6 hours of power left, and the engines are completely fried. Even if we had parts, we'd need a shipyard to fix this mess." Ross nodded grimly. The pirate attack had been swift and brutal. The Tenacity was a merchant vessel, not a warship. But her crew of 43 humans had fought back with everything they had. They'd managed to disable the attacking ship, but not before taking critical damage themselves. Sir called out communications. "Officer Davis from across the bridge. I'm picking up multiple signatures on long-range sensors. Looks like the entire pirate fleet is converging on our position. ETA 12 hours. The captain's jaw tightened. The pirates would want revenge for her. Their lost ship and a disabled merchant vessel made an easy target. Worse, the Tenacity carried medical supplies. It's desperately needed by the colony on Kepler 4 for 2B. If they failed to deliver those supplies, thousands would die from the plague spreading through the settlement." "Options," Ross asked his senior staff. "Pods," suggested Navigator Hayes. "We could scatter, hope some of us make it to the colony, and abandon the medical supplies." Blake shook her head. "Those colonists are counting on us." Dar stood and walked to the main viewport, staring out at the stars. In the distance, he could see the faint glow of the Kepler system. So close, yet impossibly far with their engines dead, Captain Blake said quietly, approaching him. "I've been running calculations. We might not be able to fix the engines, but we could redirect the antimatter containment system." "Explain." Blake activated her tablet, displaying technical schematics. "The containment field is unstable, but we could use that to our advantage. If we reconfigured the magnetic field generators and route power through the cargo bay's industrial fabricators, we could essentially turn the entire ship into a massive railgun." Ross studied the plans. "You're talking about firing the ship itself as a projectile." "Not exactly. We'd use the antimatter explosion to propel a portion of the ship forward at tremendous velocity. The cargo bay is detachable by design for emergency situations. We could load it with the medical supplies and fire it toward Kepler 4 for it to be like a bullet. And the rest of us?" Blake met his eyes. "We'd ride the explosion, turn the Tenacity into a kinetic weapon, and ram it straight into the pirate fleet." The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. It was a suicide mission, but it would ensure the medical supplies reached the colony while taking out the pirates who had been terrorizing this sector for months. "There's another option," Davis interjected. "We could use the same principle but redirect the explosion through the main deflector array, create a focused energy beam that could disable the pirate ships without destroying ourselves." Chief Engineer Murphy, who had been listening from the engineering station, shook his head. "The deflector can't handle that kind of power output. It would melt in seconds. And we modify it," Blake said, her eyes lighting up with inspiration. "We strip the hull plating, reroute the structural integrity fields, and turn the entire ship into a weapon platform. We've got 43 humans who refuse to give up, and a cargo hold full of raw materials." Ross looked around at his crew. These men and women had signed up for merchant service, not warfare, yet every face showed the same determination. They wouldn't abandon their mission or let the pirates continue their reign of terror. "How long do we have to make this work?" he asked. 10 hours before the fleet arrives," Blake replied. "It'll be tight, but we can do it. It's the next 10 hours." Saw the most intense engineering effort in the Tenacity's history. The crew worked without rest, stripping systems, rerouting power conduits, and transforming their disabled merchant vessel into something unprecedented. They called it the Planet Destroyer, though it was really a ship destroyer, a massive energy weapon built from the bones of their dying ship. When the pirate fleet dropped out of hyperspace, they expected to find easy prey. Instead, they found 43 humans who had refused to accept defeat. the Tenacity, now barely recognizable, hung in space like a metallic predator. Her hull had been stripped and reconfigured, bristling with improvised weapon arrays and energy-focusing elements. The cargo bay had been converted into a launch tube, the medical supplies secured in a reinforced pod ready for deployment. Pirate vessels. This is Captain Ross of the UES Tenacity. He broadcast on all frequencies. You have one chance to withdraw from this system. The response was predictable: weapons fire from 6 pirate vessels, converging on the seemingly helpless. Merchant ship. Ross smiled grimly. All hands, brace for planet destroyer activation. The antimatter containment field collapsed in a controlled cascade, channeling the explosion through the modified deflector array and hull configuration. The Tenacity became a lance of pure energy, striking out across space with devastating precision. One by one, the pirate ships disappeared in brilliant flashes of light. The energy beam, focused and directed by human ingenuity, swept through the fleet like a sword of justice. As the last pirate vessel exploded, Tenacity launched its cargo pod toward Kepler 4 for 2B. The medical supplies would reach the colony. Within hours, carried by the same explosion that had destroyed their enemies, the ship itself was finished. Her hull cracked and systems failing, but she had served her purpose. As rescue ships arrived from the colony, drawn by the spectacular light show, they found 43 humans who had turned their greatest defeat into their most magnificent victory. The legend of the planet. Destroyers spread throughout human space, inspiring a new generation of engineers and spacers. It became a symbol of humanity's greatest strength: the refusal to surrender, and the ingenuity to turn any tool into a weapon when protecting those who depended on them. The Tenacity had been disabled, but her crew had proven that humans could transform even defeat into victory, one impossible engineering miracle at a time.